Hi and welcome. Today we're going to be working ourselves into this pose, which is called Half Moon or Ardha Chandrasana. So what you'll need today is an open mind, your breath, a couple of blocks, and either a yoga tune-up ball or a tennis ball. So hit pause, grab those, and we're starting with the foot today. And anytime we do balance work, I really love to roll out the feet because this is so important that your foot is kind of connected and really able to feel the earth. And gosh, it'll just change your balance right up. This is a plantar fascia stretch. You want your toes up against the ball. You want your foot flat on the floor. And we're peeling up through the plantar fascia band underneath the foot. And let's, feel that foot. While we're here, we might as well practice our first Ardha Chandrasana to pick up the ball. What do you think? First and foremost, let's have fun here and enjoy moving our bodies. Switching over to the second side for the foot roll out. Again, enjoy. Breathe in and out of your nose. Breathe long and smooth. And have fun with me today. Getting into the pocket in front of the heel now. And the plantar fascia stretch. Don't miss out on this one. This is gold right here. Release. Okay, coming into a balanced position. So I'm going to suggest a block here. And, if you're balanced, if you're working on your balance, just stand on the floor. But we're going to start by standing on the left foot. We're going to try to balance on the block. And if that's too much, again, put your foot on the floor and work up to balancing on a block. This offers a lot of strength for your ankle to support the knee. We're switching positions. We're going to hold on to the knee right under the joint. And breathe. Make sure you don't sit into that standing hip at all. And see if you can relax here. One of the things about balance also is that you will balance better if you soften your eyes and look straight ahead, not quite at me, but a little past me, kind of like you can see me in your peripheral vision. Taking the knee out to the side and breathing. You can do whatever you want with this free arm. Bringing the knee back toward the front. And then into a little tree pose. So I like this variation of tree pose where I put the outside line of my foot onto the front of the thigh. This is actually the most classical version of tree pose. This is what tree pose looked like before we started putting our feet on the inside of the thigh. Go ahead and relax and release. Swing the leg. Swing the leg a few times, and you'll notice you may have a little cramping in some of your muscles. This is just building strength. You'll start to feel your muscles getting stronger here. Switching over to the right foot, balancing in kickstand, taking long, smooth breaths. Notice how your breath makes this feel easier. Picking up the knee, interlacing the fingers to grab underneath the knee joint. Staying with that long, smooth breath. Now, the more you exhale, the more you'll find, it's easier to be here. It's just easy to be here. And taking the knee out to the side. Breathing deep in and out of the nose. Make sure you don't sit into that hip. Stay right up on top of your femur. Breathing. Bringing the knee back toward the front. And then coming into that classical, variation of tree pose. Outside of the foot presses in toward the thigh. And you may do what you wish with your hands. Now, our practice today is all about this pose that we're getting into. But all of these things that we're doing are methodically strengthening us and opening us in a way that's going to allow us to really get the best out of our position, out of our pose. So we're going to swing the leg here a little bit. And then step down and breathe. Okay, let's just put this to the side. And I'd like you to try on this pose. And I don't want you to get too flustered here because, again, we haven't quite opened the hips yet. This is a half moon. We're standing on one leg. This might be a bit of a challenge for you, so just be careful, don't fall. I know I don't even have to tell you that, but just see where you're at with this. When you feel ready, gently lift up out of it and switch to your second side. Coming in, Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha means half, and Chandra means moon. And Asana, or a lot of times you hear asana, means pose or position. Let's lift out of this and do a little twist. All right. Lift your spine up out of your pelvis. Take a nice deep inhale. And then interlace your fingers over your head. We're going to take a little forward fold here so you can relax your spine. So bend your knees. Let your rib basket rest onto your thighs. This I'm turning to the side so that you can see. I'm bending my knees here so I can put my ribs right down here on my thighs. You can see this. The bottom of my rib cage is touching my thighs, even the mid part of my rib cage touching the thighs. You might have to bend your knees a ton to do that. Shift your weight into the heels. Let your head relax toward the floor. Take a nice deep breath. You may bend your knees a little bit more and kind of move around here. And on your next exhale, push up to standing. So we're going to need a little bit of stability along the outside line of the leg. So I want to step back into, all right, see that line I just drew? Think about the outside of your knee pushing out. We're not really going to push it out, but we're energetically pushing out into the outside of the knee, the pinky toe, the outside of the ankle, and the outside of the hip. I want you to stay here for a little bit and breathe. You may do whatever you like with your arms. The most common thing to do is lift them. So I'm going to go ahead and lift them. Again, you're really solid here. You're feeling your thigh bone pull in toward the hip socket here on this front leg. This is a crescent lunge. And place the hands gently on the floor. And then pick your foot up and step it back to a downward facing dog. Nice. Pick your left foot up and step it forward. Coming into that crescent lunge over here on the left. Pulling your left thigh bone in toward the left hip socket. And finding the outside of the ankle, knee, and hip. Gently and energetically pressing out into that outside line. Take your pinky toe and reach it out to the side. And really feel it on the floor. And breathe. This is giving you a lot of stability in your leg, your knee, your hip, so that when we go into this half moon pose at the end, you'll be super solid. You'll feel so strong and ready. Step your feet forward into a little forward fold. Take a nice deep breath. And on your exhale, push up to standing. Okay. One of the things that I see that's pretty common is to kind of, and that's what this exercise is for, is to help with your alignment. So by alignment, I mean, when we come into this, what we're going to do is you may use a block for your, to help you with your balance. But when you come in, I want you to notice your alignment. How you can see my foot is straight behind me. It's not over to the side. I'm not wobbling anywhere. And we're going to set up the hips so that you can do that a little better. So we've got 2 blocks stacked, 1, 2, and I'm having a seat like it's all casual and stuff. And this is, we're going to do a little hip opening. So I'm scooching the right foot out. Scoot your right foot out with me. And place your left hand in front of your left foot. We're going to twist off to the left side, and we're going to push your foot into the floor, that right foot. Just feel it push into the floor a few times and get familiar with pushing down. Now I'm going to reach the knee out to the right, out to the side, to the right. Now I'm going to also push my knee back. I'm keeping all of these instructions in place. Foot down, knee out, knee back. We're kind of stacking one, building one on top of the other. Knee down, foot down, knee out, knee back. Foot down, knee out, knee back. I know you can't see what's going on, but it's making a huge difference. I know you feel it. Foot down, knee out, knee back. And breathe. Last one, foot down, knee out, knee back. And then inch your foot in, and then we're going to our second side. So if you're a yoga teacher, I know a lot of yoga teachers who teach this pose. These are some good suggestions on how to really prepare your students for this pose. And the foot goes down, the knee reaches out to the left, the knee reaches back. The foot presses down, knee out, knee back. Foot down, knee out, knee back. You're twisted, foot down, knee out, knee back. Keep breathing with me. Foot down, knee out, knee back. Good. Bring your left foot in. Take a breath. Oh, wasn't that yummy? And we're going to come out of this position. And we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So we're focused on this outside muscle. You might have heard me talk about this before, glute medius. It is the most underused and underdeveloped muscle on most people. So we're coming into this is kind of like a half moon on the knees, isn't it? So I want to practice this for a couple of rounds. So I want you to open up your belly button and your chest face towards me. And then slowly, slow, they face the floor, kind of like a warrior 3. Then they open again. Hello. And then close again. All right, let's set that knee down and let's go to our second side. You can just go straight over to your second side, but I'm staying here so I can be with you. Open and close a couple of times. I just want you to feel what this feels like before we do our next exercise. Excellent. Now, next exercise is we're going to use that yoga tune-up ball or the tennis ball. So grab it, and we're going to roll the glute medius. Oh, it's such a popular thing. Well, actually, it's not very popular, but it is with me because this muscle, the strength of this muscle, actually helped save me from having a hip replacement years ago. So strengthening this is really, really important and vital for so many athletes, for so many people who deal with like hip instability. And then even just to get in this pose, you're going to see a tremendous change. And what this kind of rolling does, and notice we're using a ball, we are not using a foam roller because of the shape. We don't want to steam iron our glute medius. We want to kind of trigger point, get into it. That's right. Okay, take a breath. And we're going to go into a glute medius exercise, probably the best one I've found so far to ignite glute and isolate glute medius. So in order to isolate a muscle, we need to use just a little bit, a minimum amount of effort. Because usually, let's go ahead and get into this position. The knee is on the block. The left toes or the bottom of the toes are on the mat, but the heel is up. The heel cannot touch. The other leg is lifted, and I'm pushing my knee into the block here to lift the hips ever so slightly. It's not even quite a lift because most of the time we have a takeover pattern. Like, in other words, if your glute medius isn't going to do the work, these other three muscles will do it for glute medius, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to isolate this muscle so that it has to turn on. It is usually what I call the lazy lab partner that doesn't always pull its share of the load. Let's relax into Shavasana for a couple of breaths and shake out your legs a little bit. And we're going to go to the other side. I'll swivel around so that I can see you, I can be with you. And we're going to put the knee, or just actually put the block under the knee. Heel is up off the floor. The bottom of our toes are touching the mat. And I'm tilted to the right so that I can feel my glute medius. That muscle we just turned on with the balls, the tune-up ball. Yes, and I'm feeling this muscle engage and relax, engage and relax. And then I might go in and engage it again and hold. Now, if you're new to this exercise, hit pause or travel back here in the video and repeat it and really play with it until you can feel only your glute medius doing this exercise. Roll to your side and then push up to seated. We're going to come onto the hands and knees and we're going to play here a little bit. So I'm going to extend my left leg and my right arm just to get my balance, just to check in with my balance here. All good? All right, now we're going to try those little, whoops. We're going to try these hip, east-west hip hinges again, just so we can tell the difference. Isn't that different? It's so different, and I love that so much. When we go into an exercise and it is like just different because of one muscle, I find it so fascinating. How about you? What are you finding in your body? Let's do this one to the second side. This time I'm going to face away from you. Don't forget to breathe here. And whatever part of this exercise you find a little more difficult, see if you can take an exhale in that portion. All right, let's not wear our hips out quite yet. So we're building strength. We're going to come into a little down dog position, just to transition here. And then either step or hop forward, come into a forward fold, and then exhale to stand. Beautiful. Now we're coming into this position. Now, a lot of times I see people coming in like this, and see how I can't even really get into it. Yeah, that's not actually the way to do it. So the other thing I see is coming into it a little more sanely, but then people have a lot of weight in the wrist, and they're really relying on that block. This isn't about building wrist strength against the block. This is about building balance and hip stability. So if you have your block, I should be able to kick it out from under your hand and you wouldn't fall. All right, another thing that I see is that people go into this pose and they go all the way in for that dopamine hit. Like you master the pose and it feels great, but you're not quite aligned well. So I'm going to invite you to just come into this halfway, 3/4 of a way, 1/4 of the way, whatever works for you today. And you can always, again, use that block as long as you're not putting weight into it. We're going to go against a wall. So find yourself a wall. And when you come into the wall, you're going to have your right hip, your shoulder blades, and the back of your head touching the wall. Again, I have just a teeny amount of weight in my fingertips, but it's so light. All right, check this out. I'm moving a little bit so that my foot can be in the picture. But what I'm doing here is I'm getting into this position. My fingertips are so light, anyone can come remove the block out from underneath me and I would stay exactly in this position. But we're working on our alignment here. I want you to feel what this feels like in your body. And then we're going to use this feeling sensation. Good. Release. Let's come into our second side. So again, you're welcome to use the block, but keep it light. Here we go, opening up. This takes a certain type of strength and openness in the hip, which is why we did a little hip opening, which is why we did a little hip strengthening and stability work, so that you would have the ability to be here against the wall in this alignment. If going in this far doesn't work, I invite you to just go 1/4 of the way or halfway. Okay, here we are. And we are now going to come into Ardha Chandrasana in the middle of the floor. So this balance is very slow. I want you to look at the floor. Again, no hand, wrist action here. Keep your fingertips light or none at all. And be willing to work at 1/3 of the way into this, 1/2 of the way into this. This will build the strength, the stability, and the mobility that you need to get in here. And it just takes a little time, breath, repetition. You guys know all that drill work. All right, let's try our second side. Again, you're welcome to take the block with you or not. And we balance in. Keep your heel and your head in one line. So look at this line, crown of the head to heel, straight line. It's going to help you balance anytime you break that line. Ooh, it makes you want to topple right over. So that's another one of the keys to being in this pose and breathing. Again, I should be able to kick that block out from under that hand. That's right. You guys are doing awesome. I mean, really. Total rock star pose right here. Even if you don't feel like a rock star, if you're like a third of the way in, you're like, but I'm not all the way there. Still, if you can do that, you're a rock star. So, all right, let's cool down just a little bit. I'm going to get you ready for a little rest. I love a good Shavasana after a little stability and strength work. So come down to the mat. We're going to do Vishnu's pose. I like to start lying on my side and then flip the palm up. And this is less about this top leg, but really what I want you to do is straighten through this bottom leg. See that bottom leg? I'm really reaching through my heel. With this top leg, I'm bringing the leg up, but we didn't do any hamstring work, so I don't expect you to have really open hamstrings. You can bend the knee, and it's just as effective for what we're trying to accomplish. You can straighten your leg halfway, or if you have open hamstrings, you can grab and wrap your first 2 fingers around the toe. But I want you to really extend through that right leg. Good. Let's swivel around and switch. Side lying here, and then coming up to that elbow. Please don't dump into your shoulder. Keep this nice 90-degree angle at the shoulder elbow. And then here we are, reaching through and extending through that left leg. More about the left leg than the right. So give yourself a nice, generous lengthening through that left leg. The right leg can be bent. The right leg can be however you need it to be. If you want more, you can even start to take the leg back, kind of like toward where the kitchen is over here for me. And then slowly release. Excellent. Excellent. All right, last little bit. We're going to do a twist just to release the spine. So we're doing simple seated twist. Your left elbow is on the outside of the right knee here. And your forearm is parallel with the floor. Your palm is facing down toward the floor. This is a little different than most people do, but it's actually better for the shoulder joint. So I like to do this with the arm. Let's switch. This is a mechanically better way to do it if you have anything going on with your shoulder. Beautiful practice, everyone. And really, really, it's a pleasure practicing with you. So thank you for choosing to practice with me today. My name is Allison Rush. And this is your final pose. This is a resting pose. This is Shavasana. And you get to lie down and just close your eyes and take a big old yummy oozy rest. Until I see you next, take really good care.